So the question I get asked the most, like every single day, is how I'm able to stay in Thailand so long. A lot of it's visa related, but in today's video, I'm going to give you a full breakdown of what you need to do to be able to stay here in Thailand long term. So in this video, I will go through housing, banking, budget, and visas, and I'll give you a bit of a breakdown of what you need to do to get over here. So first off is housing, and you know what? Getting housing in Thailand is actually really easy, which is great. The process for getting an apartment here for renting is unbelievably easy. For me, as an example, back home in Australia, God, the process for getting an apartment is a total nightmare. You got to show proof of income and bank statements, and you need character references, and they want your next of kin, blood type. Well, maybe not that much, but it seems like they want a lot. There's so many documents you need to submit. But here in Thailand, it's actually a very easy process. For me personally, the 2 apartments that I've had here on contract were just a very quick, very easy process to go through. Basically, I only needed to show my passport. They didn't want to check visas or anything like that. Just wanted a passport and your security deposit. Fill out the contract and you're good to go. My first place that I came to look at, I walked in and I looked at the place and I liked it. And I said like, yeah, I really like it. Like, how can I get it? And they said, oh, just give us the deposit and we'll give you the keys. So it was basically, it was all done within about half an hour from me walking in the condo for the first time to me actually having the keys. So how do you go about finding an apartment here in Thailand? Now, the method that I used, and this is what I recommend to other people doing, is find out the neighborhood you want to live in first. If you're coming over here and you plan to stay long term, think about doing Airbnbs. I actually stayed in Airbnbs in a few different neighborhoods, and I'd sort of stay for a week and then move on to the next place to see what area I'd like and what area I felt like it would be good for me to live in. Then once you find that area, what you want to do is start exploring the area, checking out different condos. So the way I would do that is I've decided the area that I liked, and I would just basically walk up and down the streets, check out the condos from the outside to get an idea of, is this a building that I would like to live in? Is there even availability there? The majority of them you can just walk into and ask. There'll be like a concierge or security, and you can ask them if they have any places available for rent, and if they do, they can take you in and show you some of the rooms. A great thing to do after that is cross-reference the condos that you like with online ads. So 2 great websites that I recommend is HipFlat and RentHub. And what I would do is sort of find a condo that I'd like, go on RentHub or HipFlat and look at the prices and get an idea of what you can pay. Now, something great about Thailand is the advertised price is not what you necessarily need to pay. There's actually quite a bit of wiggle room, especially at the moment, you know, in time as more people are moving back here and, you know, more people are coming into Thailand. That will get harder to do, but at the moment there's still a lot of availability in just about every condo. So there's a lot of flexibility and you can actually get some great deals. I was super fortunate. I got my place way back during COVID when there was the lockdowns and everything, and all the places were unbelievably cheap, and then I managed to bargain them down even more. So my place, I got for a steal. I'm very lucky, and I've got amazing landlords, which is great. I don't share where I live, so I do get asked that quite a bit, like what the condo is. Unfortunately, I don't share that, I'm sorry. But like I said, go find a neighborhood that you like, explore there, find the condos that interest you, and then look at those condos online on those 2 websites. You can search the condo by name. Now next up is banking, and I touched on this a little bit in yesterday's video, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself here, but for me personally, I use Citibank, which is a global bank. I don't have a Thai bank account. I think you don't need a Thai bank account to live here. Other countries I found you definitely did. When I lived in Korea, you needed a Korean bank account for there to be transferring your rent and everything. But here you can actually survive quite easily without a Thai bank account. So as I mentioned, I use Citibank, and for me, the benefit of Citibank is they're a global bank. There's Citibanks in every country in the world, and Citibank has no fees globally. So if I use my Citibank card here in Bangkok or anywhere in the world, I don't pay local fees for that. You can also use the actual physical card everywhere. It's a Visa, it's a MasterCard, so you can use it the same as any other card that you would here. If I want to go into a 7-Eleven and pay on card, I can. For me personally, Thailand is very much a cash society, so I just pull out cash from the ATM, and it's a good way to budget too. If you pull out your cash for the week and you can sort of monitor how much you're spending, I find when it's all digital, it's very easy to lose track, especially when you're having some beers. Now this is the part where I always kind of get into disagreements with people that have Thai bank accounts. So it is Definitely easier if you have a Thai bank account here. You can use the QR code system, which I'm personally not a huge fan of. I think it's a little bit clunky here still. It's just a slower process than using cash. But for ease of use, yeah, it is great to have that, but you don't necessarily need that. If you had money in an account from your home country and you're transferring it into your Thai bank account, then you lose money in but firstly in currency conversion and in local fees from doing that. That's why for me personally, Citibank is the best choice. I find their conversion rates are quite competitive, and being that I travel a lot, I can use it every country of the world. It's just the easiest option for me.
Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul.
So next up is budget, and this is going to vary so much person to person. So you have to sort of evaluate first what you're going to be spending here before coming to a final budget. But I can tell you, you can definitely live here on a budget as low as $1,000 a month. Now, I made a video on this recently going through all the expenses that you would need to go through to do that. So I'll leave a link for that below and you can check that out. But in doing that, you'll be living quite a basic lifestyle. I find the biggest expense here is going out and socializing. So if you're able to be smart with your money during the week and maybe you only go out once or twice a week, that is still achievable on $1,000 a month. But as I mentioned, that's quite a basic life, but that's all some people need. You can go the complete other extreme and spend you can spend endless money here, really. You can live in really expensive places. You can shop in high-end malls. You can live a very extravagant lifestyle here if you want. My personal opinion is I think around $2,000, 2,000 US dollars a month, you can live a very comfortable life here. Me personally, I'm spending around $3,000 a month on average, sometimes more, sometimes less. But my lifestyle here is quite, I don't know if extravagant's the right word, but I do a lot. I socialize a lot. I go out a lot. I'm traveling all the time. You see my videos, I'm spending money every day. I'm out doing things. Whereas if you're here living a more simple life and more relaxed, there's some days where you don't do a whole lot and you actually don't spend that much money. My single biggest expense is just a night out, really. A big night can be sort of, oh God, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 baht in a night. It sort of depends on what you're doing and where you're going and how often you're doing it. There's a lot of variables in that. I personally go out I'm out doing things most nights. Almost every night I'm either out having dinner with friends or going out or socializing, drinking, whatever. I don't drink every night, but I am definitely out most nights socializing. So if that's the lifestyle you want to be living, I think 3,000 is enough for that. Like I said, sometimes I spend more, sometimes I spend less. But keep in mind, I'm also traveling too. I'm down in Pattaya every couple of weeks and I'm getting hotels and traveling around, and I'm even doing international trips. So these are the things you have to factor into that budget. So just to summarize, you can live here on as little as $1,000 a month or endlessly high. I think 2,000 is a good amount to budget for. And then 3,000 if you plan on doing a lot more and going out a lot more. If you don't drink, $1,000 a month, easy. There's just a couple extra things you need to factor into your budget. One thing that people talk about a lot is insurance. Insurance is no longer mandatory here to enter Thailand. I still think it's a great idea to have it. And insurance isn't that expensive. There are expensive companies. I personally use Safety Wings. There's a link for them below. They're worth checking out. I pay $40 a month for them and they cover just about everything. The majority of my friends here are all on Safety Wings as well. That's just what we use. So if you do want to use them, use the link below because then I get a little slice of that. That'd be great. But check them out. So lastly, and the thing everyone wants to know is visas. Now, I want to start off by saying I'm not a visa expert. I don't recommend going to YouTubers for visa advice. But anyway, I'll share what I know, give you some ideas of what you can do. But always, my best advice with visas is to look at your local embassy. A lot of them have great websites that are user-friendly. I know the Australian Thai Embassy has a fantastic website for looking at visas and exploring your options. Me personally, before I moved to Thailand for the first time, and actually before I came back here, now that I'm doing YouTube and earning money here, I just walked into an embassy and I wanted to speak to a person. So I walked in, I told them what I wanted to do. So when I first came over here, I came on the Stv Visa, which is a 9-month tourist visa. You need to it's 3 months. You need to renew it each time. But that's a fantastic visa, and that was perfect for me when I first moved over. If you're going to be working here, that's something that needs to be sorted out through the company that you're working for and everything. You need to do, a work visa and a sponsorship, but that's the same as any other country in the world. If you do want that advice, definitely go into an embassy or speak to someone at an embassy because it gets very complicated. Now, if you did want to do the whole tourist visa thing, the other way you can do it is if you apply for a tourist visa before you come over, you get a 60-day, I believe it's a 60-day visa, and you can extend that for another 30 days after. So that's 3 months you get to stay here. Then if you do a trip to somewhere else, if you wanted to do a lot of traveling and you do a trip somewhere else, you can basically apply for another one of them and restart that. This is where you would have heard the term visa run. That's when people go to another country and come back and you can restart your whole visa. So the question is, can you do that over and over and over again? And look, to be honest, it's really hard to find a clear answer on that. There are people that have lived here that have been doing that for years and years and years. It's not illegal, you're not breaking any rules, but you may get asked the question at immigration when you're arriving as to why you're still here and how you're able to support your life. They just want to make sure you're not working illegally or doing anything wrong. Now there's some other options if you want to stay here long term as well. Now, if you're old enough to retire, that's a perfect option. There's a great retirement visa. I'm not quite there yet, so I know absolutely nothing about that visa, but all the information will be available for that online. Another great option that's popular for people that want to stay here long term is to look at the education visa. So it's basically like you're learning here, so there's all different classes you can take. Learn Thai is a great one. It's not like full-term study. You can do courses where I think it's only a couple of days a week and the courses are only a couple of hours long. But if you're living here, you might as well do something like that and learn the Thai language. Another visa that I hear is popular is the Muay Thai visa. So if you're interested in doing some Muay Thai lessons, you don't need to fight or anything like that, but basically it's similar to the education visa. You need to do a certain amount of classes and have a good attendance rate. But if you're interested in the fitness side of it and things like that, that's a great option too. And I think that's a 1-year visa as well. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, I am not at all an expert. I'm not qualified to give any professional advice on this. Check with your local embassy. Look online is usually the best way to start. And otherwise, walk into an embassy. Like I said, go talk to a person, explain your situation, because there's hundreds of different visas that you can come here on. There's little subcategories for each visa, and they'll be able to help point you in the right direction. So I hope this video is helpful. If anyone else, any of you watching, if you have any insight that you want to share on any of these things, leave it in a comment below. And if you're just watching this video for the first time, have a read of the comments. There may be something else that can help you in there as well. For me, the whole process of moving to Thailand was actually surprisingly easy. This isn't my first country living abroad, so mentally I was sort of prepared for the whole process, but I haven't really struggled with anything here.